Texans get a win on primetime over the Chicago Bears. Was it ugly? Was it pretty? Does it even freaking matter? Another Locker Room postgame show live on YouTube.
Yeah. It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, Locker Room. Yeah, we in the Locker Room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the post.
All right, that was another win by the Texans. It is the Locker Room, number one source for Texans digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can see me, hear me here throughout the week. I'm at practice every day. I'm right here for you every day in the Locker Room. It is the postgame show, best Texans postgame show. Texans find a way to win 19-13. And I'm going to start this show the way I started last week. It wasn't ugly. I mean, it wasn't pretty. It was ugly, but the good teams, Will Kunkel just said this of Fox 4, the good teams find ways to win ugly. And that's what the Texans did. The Chicago Bears, they're not a terrible football team. The Colts, they might be a terrible football team. Way too many penalties for the Texans. Way more close than it probably should have been. But the good teams find ways to win ugly. And I think at the very least, at the bare minimum, we can say the Texans are a good team. In fact, the Texans right now, they're one of four teams in the AFC that is 2-0. Five. They're one of five teams in the AFC that is 2-0. You have the Buffalo Bills, who've been finding ways to win games for a long time. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who always seem to find ways to win. You have the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh, and you have the Chiefs at 2-0. Good teams find ways to win ugly. And make no mistake about it, this was a sloppy game by the Texans, but they found a way to win. Unable to run the ball. I think the absence of Juice Scruggs was significant. There is a clear downgrade when it comes to the run game when Patterson's in there. He's a serviceable guy. He's serviceable when it comes to pass blocking, but you could tell there was a lack of communication. You could tell the Bears were kind of picking on Patterson a little bit, which is to be expected. Whenever your backups are in, that tends to happen. So I do think Juice Scruggs was missed. They had a scare with Joe Mixon, and it kind of got you to thinking, are they going to be capable of running the ball? If Joe Mixon ever misses time, we'll keep an eye on his ankle injury. But it was a very, very, very it was a win. Let's put it this way. If you're in here and you've been following this Texans team, even for the last few years, it was a game that they find ways to lose in the past, maybe even as recent as last year. It seemed like every time that the Texans were just on the edge of taking this game away, Chicago got life. The Cam Akers fumble inside the 5-yard line. If you want to find a way not to be RB2, that'll do it. That gave Chicago life. The end of the game, that was just a really, really weird situation. But you did see a couple of things that I think are elite. And we've talked about what is elite on this Texans team. I think the wide receiver core is elite. Nico Collins is wide receiver 1 until further notice right now. We've had the debate. I thought it would be Stefon Diggs. Nico Collins, just absolute alpha big boy football. That 2-play display that Nico Collins had where he picked up the 15-yard penalty, kind of out of character. And then on the very next play had the 27-yard touchdown and basically tackled the guy. If you look at the stats going across, I gave Nico credit for a tackle. You can see Nico's stats coming down here. When you score a touchdown and you tackle a guy with your other arm, when you go in the end zone, in the locker room stats, you get credit for a tackle. So Nico Collins gets credit for a tackle. I think that Nico Collins completely set the tone. He is wide receiver 1 right now until further notice. I think the edge guys played really, really well for the Texans. Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. You got potential elite edge guys in Danielle Hunter and Anderson. And the corners Kamari Lassiter with 1 interception that counted, 1 that didn't. And then Derek Stingley with the interception. You got potential to have an elite cornerback duo as well. We'll go through the big moments in the game. We'll go through the big takeaways. We'll hear from DeMeco Ryans. We'll hear from CJ Stroud, and we'll try to get a grasp of where this Texans team is after every Monday Night Football game. If you're new to the channel, and be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, be sure to ride along. We go through and we give the localized point of view of the Texans, which, by the way, they're 2-0. Everyone else in the division is 0-2. But we'll go through the other things that matter. That's every Monday. Reaction Monday tomorrow at 8 o'clock. The collaboration with the great Cody Stutes. Got a big announcement for you tomorrow at 8 a.m. So if you're always looking for something to listen to when it comes to Texans, I'm going to collaborate with the other best in the game in Cody Stutes, 8 to 10 a.m. every Monday following every Texans game. And we got a big announcement for you as well. AJ has swarmed the super chat.
Swarm.
Why do we get so penalized in our house? He asks. I don't know. I don't think it's anything to do with the house. I just think it was a sloppy, undisciplined football game. You saw Laramie Tunsil with a couple of false starts. You saw a couple of just penalties. I think it just happened. I just think it was kind of one of those games that happened. The other thing, and I think this is kind of a charge it to the game. Johnny says 8 receptions, 135 yards, and 1 tackle. That's wrong, man. That's wrong. You got to add the tackle. You said 1 touchdown. You got to add the tackle. You get credit for a tackle in Landry stats and info. So add the tackle there. 8 receptions, 135, touchdown, and a tackle after the touchdown. Need Scruggs back ASAP. I agree wholeheartedly. We'll hear from DeMeco Ryans in a second. We'll go through the stuff that happened that mattered the most, including we got to keep a close eye on Joe Mixon. But let's start with the biggest takeaways from the game itself. Number one, they need to wear those all whites every home game. Those should be the home uniforms. Those are way better than the home uniforms, the blue ones. Those all whites are absolutely sick. Those should be worn at every home game. No exceptions. Every game should be a whiteout. They should also have the roof opened at every game where there's somewhat humidity, because I think it's an advantage. If you have to go to Buffalo and you have to go to all these cold ass places in December and freeze your ass off and be miserable, something you're not used to, I think if you come to Texas, you should have to sweat a little bit. So open that damn roof. We're used to it here. Nobody wants to go to Buffalo and freeze their ass off that's not from Buffalo. Open the damn roof. 100%. Other thing, and I got to apologize because we're 8 minutes into this and I haven't mentioned Ka'imi Fairbairn. I've seen in lockers, like after games, and sometimes it happens after players have really good games. And it's a coincidence. It's not like the NFL sees you have a good game and then does this, but it's kind of like a running joke. The NFL puts like a note on your locker and it says, you've been selected randomly to pee in a cup for the NFL drug testing policy. Ka'imi Fairbairn needs to pee in a cup because that dude's nasty. We talked about what was going on at training camp. It was the best that I'd seen him kick. Ka'imi Fairbairn, the first player in NFL history to have 5+ 50-yard field goals through 2 games, and he did it in a game and a half. That was a halftime stat. He's absolute money from 50+ right now. So I'm going to give Ka'imi Fairbairn his props. That's not typically where we start out, talking about key moments in a game, but the Texans aren't 2-0 without Ka'imi Fairbairn. Ka'imi Fairbairn is elite right now. I mean, if the NFL voted on awards tomorrow, he would be the all-pro kicker. Cameron has swarmed the super chat.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
How about Petrie? Also, that's good defense, but no excuse for the struggles we had today. Petrie in his new role has played really, really good. He's played really, really, really good. And I thought it was a good job by the officiating crew for picking up that flag on what would have been a 15-yard penalty on Kmet. I thought that was a good job, but Petrie's doing a really good job during the in the new role that he has. Hitman swarming the super chat.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
We have ourselves an enforcer in Aziz. Shire should have gotten ejected for that punch. He should have gotten ejected, but this was my thing on that. And we'll get into this a little bit later on when we summarize the game. He should have been ejected, but the tackle that led to a Mixon injury, that was a prototypical hip drop tackle. So that should have been a 15-yard penalty as well. So let's just charge it to the game and let them play ball. And they ended up playing ball. I thought there could be a potential momentum swing after Shire hit Caleb Williams on the sideline. You saw Chicago get kind of fired up. Their offense was never really able to build momentum. Their defense was able to prevent Texans' momentum, but their offense was never able to do it. By the way, shout out to Roma Dunze. I thought there was no way he would play. Probably shouldn't have with the sprained MCL, but he was out there playing. Keenan Allen did not play. So Keenan Allen back to kind of his old ways. He's on the sidelines wearing that ugly-ass plaid hat, coaching Caleb Williams. I'm him, not them. Why don't they call penalties for Will Anderson? I have no idea. I didn't really notice that, but I thought Will played good. Mr. Rob with the super chat. Appreciate you, my friend. Let's hear from DeMeco Ryans here real quick. DeMeco Ryans meeting with the media. Here's what the Texans head coach has to say after the Texans find a way to get the dub on Sunday night against the Bears.
A lot on Caleb Williams, kind of late in the first quarter and then so on. What was the basis behind that, and how did you see that kind of affect the game?
Well, it starts up front with our defensive line, like Will, Daniil, Mario, all the guys. The way they were rushing, like together, and the way we were covering in the back end, that really set things apart for us. So, credit to Sting and Kamari for the way they covered, allowing those guys to get the pressure. You don't get pressure unless the coverage is tight. So those guys covered well and allowed the rush to get there.
Yeah, we got a lot of questions. Go ahead.
I got you, John. Go ahead.
DeMeco, what were they doing to shut down your run the way they did?
Yeah, they did a really nice job. Their defense, Matt has had a great defense in his league for a long time. So for us, they were moving a lot of stunts up front, a lot of movement, causing a little chaos up front for us, right? They had a lot of penetration, so we weren't able to have the lanes that we had the previous week. So something we had to clean up on the offensive side and make sure we just continue to get a hat on a hat no matter what they show us.
Is that what you were doing to shut down their run too?
Yeah, our guys did a great job of setting the edge. Like they try to run the ball outside a lot. Our guys set the edge and guys just swarmed inside out to the ball. Right, we had a little movement up front, but the way our guys tackled was really, really nice.
It seemed that Joe Mixon got hurt on a play that's kind of banned for the NFL with the hip drop. What did you see? Kind of what are your thoughts on the play that got Joe Mixon hurt?
Yeah, saw it there. Joe got, rolled up. The guy's weight definitely came down on his ankle. Right, didn't look good from my view. So we'll evaluate Joe throughout the week. Hopefully he's okay. But I have to see the film and see, was it really a hip drop tackle? I have to see the film and see, if it was really that.
DeMeco, 12 penalties, 115 yards. I know that's not your style of playing clean football. Is this something really going to be an attention grabber this week? Particularly tomorrow when we start watching film?
That's definitely the attention grabber. We cannot play that way. Like 12 penalties, undisciplined football is not what we're about. So we have to clean that up all across the board. Offense, defense, special teams, every phase had penalties. So we allowed them to stay.
Dude, they're 2-0. Just think about that. He's not wrong. They're 2-0
in the game because we helped them, right? So we have to pick that up.
How much can a game like this, that 19-13 win, how much can a game like this help you all moving forward, getting that gritty, tough tough win?
It's just about winning, right? 1 week at a time and they're not always going to be pretty, but you just have to find a way to win. And that's what I'm most proud about with our guys. Like, no matter what happened there at the end, we found a way to win with all the penalties, all of the negative plays. Like, we were able to gut out a win. And that's what this league is about.
Preach.
Coach, I'm thinking about a couple young defenders, and I'm gonna lump them together just to get your reaction. You already mentioned setting the edge. I thought maybe Petrie's best game in this new role, saw him several times setting the edge, being physical at the point of attack, and then 2 games in a row, Henry told. His development sounded like his body's right. What did you see from those 2 guys?
He's gotten better.
Guys were flying around sideline to sideline. So Petrie definitely jumped off. I mean, he's playing physical, right? He was active. He was around the ball a lot. A couple big hits there. That's what we're about, physical defense. And Petrie put it on tape. Like, if you're going to play us, it's going to be a physical brand of football. So excited where Petrie is.
Nico, what is having a kicker like Kaimi Fairbairn done for your team so far this season, and kind of just what is the confidence in him, hitting from long range and just being able to lean on him so far this season?
Yeah, nobody talks about it enough. Amy is the reason why we won these 2 games, right? That's been the player of the game. For him to hit, I mean, I don't know how many 50-yard field goals. Like, I don't think that's been done before. So it's very special for Amy. Like, he's been consistent. He's on it, and he's the reason, like, why we're standing here, right? We talk a lot about offense, defense, but the kicking game is the reason why we won this game today.
Nico, how do you explain it? Because he never kicked this far, this consistently in his 8 years here. How do you explain it?
It's the right time now. He's kicking it at the right time now. But Amy, he puts a lot of work in. And just to see his confidence, right? He knows, like, we're behind him, right? And everything he's showing, he's proven to his teammates, right? He's been consistent, he's confident, and our operation has been flawless.
I know he's impressive last year, CJ, but then having a whole off season now, a couple games in, what have you noticed growth-wise? What's the biggest difference you've seen in him compared to last year now that he's got that whole year under his belt?
Yeah, CJ's been the same. Just the command, the playmaking ability, it's all been the same. Proud of him, young player, 2nd year. He's continued to put the team on his back when we need him most, making some outstanding plays for us.
Last 2, baby. Last 2. DeMeco Ryan. You're in the locker room, baby.
Receiving yards.
Let's go, baby.
What can you guys do to kind of get Tank and Stefon kind of going? I know that you have all 3 clicking. That's going to be the max peak of your offense. What you guys have to do to kind of get those 2 going?
Yeah, I don't think it's a matter of getting guys going. If, like I said before, guys, whoever is open and they're making plays, they'll get the ball, right? So it's not a lack of trying to get those guys the ball. Nico has just shown up these first 2 weeks and made some big-time plays for us. So the other guys are playing really well as well. I mean, Tank and Diggs are playing well too.
Coach, it was a little leaky at times, maybe on the interior. Kenyon Green maybe got spotlighted at the time, a little bit into the penalties. Tunsil had one, Kenyon had one. Without reviewing the tape, just
Tunsil had 2, bro.
so to speak. What did you see from the O-line?
Well, I think when you look at it, I mean, like, again, I said they had a lot of movement up front. They caused a lot of chaos for us up front. We'll run it better. We'll be fine.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. That's DeMeco Ryans. We'll hear from probably CJ in a second, but you can tell he's not happy despite the dub. Couple of things in the chat sticking out. I don't know. Brandon says that blatantly obvious Vegas put their hand in this game. I don't understand stuff like this. Like, how does that work? Like, what happened? Did Cam Akers point shave when the Texans got down to the 4-yard line after Akers had the runs to get him down there? Like, did Cam Akers have an earpiece in and they said fumble the ball? Is that how that worked? I don't understand that. I think Vegas is really good at what they do. I'm just interested to know what that looks like. And I know that I know what the line was, but typically the line's right. And yeah, there was a lot of money on the Texans. I just want to know how that works. Like, what happens? Does Akers get the call? Do the refs get the call? How does that go down? Very, very interested to hear that, if you have that explanation, my friend. Tank was quiet tonight. Yeah, Tank didn't have a good game. He had the one drop in the middle after CJ heroics. Tank was not great tonight. Black Eighth Element brings up an interesting point. He says Slowick got pass happy. I disagree with that. I don't think that Slowick got pass happy. I don't think they can run the ball when Patterson's in there and Scruggs is not. I think there's a problem with how they run the ball. They can't run the ball up the middle. And Jared Patterson's a much better pass blocker than he is a run blocker. So I think the possibilities of running the ball were very meek. So that would be that would be my pushback on that. I didn't think Slowick called a bad game. I can't really point to anything where he did bad. I just don't really get it. Brandon says if Akers scores, refs would have found a way to get Chicago downfield. If Akers scores, it's not the end of the game. You're in timeout. That's just dumb. Space Age says it's 7-1-3. You're naive. Yeah, I'm gonna put you in timeout too. If you can explain how it happens, that's fine. If not, other than that, just go put y'all's nose in the corner, figure it out, come back to me with some sort of thing. I don't get that. That's a little bit weird, to be honest with you. Let's go through what happened in the game. We'll hear from CJ Stroud when he goes to the podium. It is the Locker Room post-game show. I'm Landry Locker. You can see me here. Reaction Monday at 8. So we got a quick turnaround. SNL, Landry Locker, and Cody Stutes. We got you covered there. For sure. I don't get these conspiracy theories. I guess the weirdos stay up late on Sundays. Kaimi Fairbairn right off the top. The Texans took the 3-0 lead. I thought it was interesting. This was the second straight week that the Texans on their opening drive, they elected to kick a field goal on 4th and 1. And not just any field goal, 50-plus yard field goal on 4th and 1. The Texans not on 4th and 1, but on 4th down. They'll kick on 4th and 1 a little bit later on. But Fairbairn kicked it from 56. It looked like it probably would have been good from 60 plus. It gave the Texans a 3-0 lead. You heard DeMeco just say it. We said it at the start of the show. The Texans are not 2-0 without Kaimi Fairbairn. And it's wild. The guy's been around for a decade, and the distance just seems to have increased when it comes to Kaimi Fairbairn. I don't know what he's eating. I don't know what he's doing. Again, if I were the NFL, Kaimi Fairbairn would be peeing in a cup right now. And I know they like to test a lot of players like linebackers and stuff. Kaimi Fairbairn, you're peeing in a cup. But the 56-yarder goes in for Kaimi Fairbairn. I thought there were some interesting looks from Bobby Slowick on the opening drive as well. You had Diggs in the backfield. You had wide receivers in the backfield. You actually had Mixon slanted out wide. He ran the slant on 3rd and 6. That was the first third down conversion, first third down attempt for the Texans. He moved the chains. Then they ran a sweep with Mixon where the wide receiver was in the backfield again for 16. Akers came in, Akers for 3. And then the Texans end up kicking the field goal to make it 3-0. Chicago answered with a 53-yarder of their own. Really nothing crazy going on with Chicago. Swift had the a -2. Then he caught a pass. There was a Moore slant for 19. I worried about DJ Moore, but with the Texans corners, I don't know that you're going to have to worry too much about receivers. Although mark that for next week when they take on one of the best in the game, coming off a win against San Francisco. And then you had the Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter combo sack. Danielle Hunter was down low. Will Anderson kind of knocked Caleb Williams back. That forced the field goal attempt, and the Chicago Bears kicked the 53-yarder, and they tie it up at 3. It is a Locker Room post-game show. We'll hear from CJ Stroud in a sec. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Be sure to subscribe, like, and right along. Jay Stagg has swarmed the super chat.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Does Aziz get suspended for the fine? or just fined for that punch. I think he probably just gets fined. I think there's probably a fine. I also think there's going to be a fine on the drop tackle with Mixon. Couple of breaks there for both the Bears and the Texans, 15-yard penalties, and the Texans would have lost Jair, and who knows how much different the game looks had they lost Jair. 4th and 1, Texans get aggressive on their second drive, and this one, Bobby was in his bag. Bobby was kind of in his bag on the Texans' second drive, and this was also capped off by just a complete display of alpha by Nico Collins. Let's start at 4th and 1. The Texans line up just to roll out. Cade Stover wide open. First catch of his career, goes for 18 yards. Then Nico Collins with the Texans in the red zone. Nico Collins gets a finger put through his face mask in his face. He immediately pushes the guy. He gets the 15-yard penalty. So the Texans have to back it up 15. But on the very next play, coming out of the TV timeout, Nico Collins scores the touchdown, tackles the guy, and just a complete display of angry alpha. I think Nico Collins might kind of be like one of those guys that you don't want to make mad, and he plays better. Some guys play worse when they're mad. Other guys play better. I think Nico falls under the plays better when he's mad. I don't know if y'all have watched White Men Can't Jump. I don't know if I'm aging myself or not. But Sidney Dean, Nico Collins might have a little bit of Sidney Dean. So a little bit of math, minus 15 plus 28 touchdown. Texans take a 10-3 lead. Chicago gets the rock back. The Chicago Bears really don't do anything after that. You had a reverse with DJ Moore, a Dunze for a short gain, and then you had a forced throwaway of Caleb Williams. Third possession for the Texans. 3rd and 10, Diggs gets 21 yards. And then you have just an absolute moronic display by Matt Eberflus. And there would be plenty more where this came from. I thought Matt Eberflus really went dumb on the national stage. I don't know what they're saying about him in Chicago. They can't be too thrilled with his display. A clear catch right there in front of him. He throws the challenge flag. Clearly the play on the field stands, and it wouldn't be the first time he did that. And it might have actually been not even the worst challenge that he threw. And then you had him guaranteeing that they were going to score on the opening drive of the second half. This was a bad one for Matt Eberflus, and it was on national TV, unfortunately for him, which those kind of get magnified. I want to say it cost you your job, but it is kind of something that will get the fan base to turn on you quickly. Then we had more CJ Stroud magic. He finds Nico Collins for 18 yards. 3rd and 6. Stefon Diggs short. DeMeco challenges it. It's the wrong spot, but it's not the first down. So the Texans lose the challenge. And then second straight week on 4th and 1. This one was actually 4th and inches. Fairbairn kicks a near 50-yard field goal. This one for 47. That's light work for him with the way he's kicking. So the Texans are up 13-3. You kind of wonder where they're at. What do y'all think? Do y'all like DeMeco Ryans kicking field goals on 4th and 1, 4th and inches? It seems like it's worked. There really hasn't been an offense that's really capable of making them pay. The Bears, Caleb Williams is just too under pressure. And then the Colts, Anthony Richardson can't really capitalize. So maybe if they're playing an offense that they respect more, maybe this mindset changes. But DeMeco Ryans is kicked on 4th and 1 and 4th and inches early on. Collinsworth and Tirico seemed a little bit surprised. Do you think that DeMeco's not being aggressive enough? Although they did go for it 4th and 1 earlier on that drive, which they actually did the last time they kicked it on 4th and 1. That was the Texans' first drive last week when the Texans converted a 4th and 1 when CJ Stroud fell down, connected with Brevin Jordan. And then on a 4th and 1 where Diggs was short again, came up short. I think it was 4th and 13 against Indianapolis. Fairbairn kicked the 50-plus, kind of a little bit of a remix today. So you had that. Then the Bears, they go forward on 4th and short on their 40. And you can kind of see there that while the Texans don't seem to respect the Bears offense, despite the fact the Texans offense didn't look as good as perhaps they think it should and many around the league thinks it should, the Bears still had respect for the Texans. And it seemed like they were close to not getting this, but the Bears convert a 4th and short on their own 40, and they end up, the drive ends up stalling. Barnett with a sack. Seems like 3 guys had a chance at Caleb Williams. It was 3rd and 4. It goes back to 3rd and 9. Then Barnett gets the sack. Then we have kind of the punting coming into play. The punter factor comes into play. The Bears took the kid out of Iowa in the 4th round. A lot of people say, why would you take a punter in the 4th round? Well, he punts the Texans inside the 5. And then you have the weak, Torrey Taylor is his name. Then you have a weak 38-yard punt from Tommy Townsend that puts it on midfield. A Kalen Bullock pass interference gives the Bears the ball at the 6. And then Herbert scores the touchdown to make it 13-10. However, little bit of time for the Texans. DeMeco actually used his timeouts early on. Texans get the ball. A one-handed grab by Nico Collins on the sideline sets up the Texans in field goal territory. Tunsil, though, false starts to make it a 57, 59-yard field goal in that range, but Fairbairn ends up booming it to make it 16-10 at half. So the no harm, no foul on the Texans false start by Laramie Tunsil. That's the first half summary. We'll get to the second half summary. We'll hear from CJ Stroud in a second. Let's go to some of the comments. AG913 swarming the super chat.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm. Why wasn't the clock running on the 4th at the end? You talking about with the Texans? They got a penalty, didn't they? Are you? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking. I don't know which 4th down you're talking about, my friend. Now, Tommy Townsend did have a up and down game. That Iowa punter, though, he's nice. And I do also wonder this. And I know we don't often talk about, the mental case of a punter. We typically save that for the quarterback and the wide receiver and the running back and all that. Tommy Townsend had the first punt of his career blocked last week. I wonder if that was kind of in his head a little bit. Do what Mickey said. Be sure to swarm the like button. We're going to hear from CJ in a sec. I'm sure he's got some interesting thoughts. But as far as CJ goes, there's a lot of plays that CJ makes. And look, we know that CJ is right there on the edge of being elite. Hell, some people might think that he's actually already elite. It does feel like a lot of times he's saving all butts. And it's not as bad as it was with Deshaun Watson in 2019 or 2020. But it does feel like CJ Stroud is saving all butts in a lot of times. And the inability to run the ball today kind of came into play. I hope that's not something that's going to last. But I do think this is really important, and I do think we got to reevaluate this in the spirit of fairness. Joe Mixon had 150 yards last week, and it was a hell of a performance. He obviously got AFC Offensive Player of the Week. I'm not trying to say that he didn't deserve that based on the statistics, but the Indianapolis Colts gave up they allowed another 150-yard rusher this week, and this time it was Josh Jacobs against the Packers. So I kind of wondered heading into the season, like, are the Texans going to be able to run the ball overly effective? And you see them against the Colts, and traditionally we think that the Colts have a really stout front. We think that, that they have really good underrated defensive tackles. But today, with Malik Willis at quarterback, who's not even a threat to really do anything, so it's not like you really have to respect the pass. Josh Jacobs ran for 150-plus yards. So I'm not saying that Mixon is not a good back. I'm not saying the Texans are like completely incapable of running the ball. But after week 1, with the one-game sample size we had from Indy, I think there might have been kind of a brief honeymoon phase for the run game. And today they were completely unable to run the ball. Granted, it was Patterson instead of Scruggs. But I think we got to at least not dismiss, but we got to reevaluate how we look at Joe Mixon running for 150 yards last week. And oh, by the way, Joe Mixon ended up getting nicked up today. So I do think that is 100% worth revisiting. Darth Derp says, just shows how far this team has come under Ryans. With all the penalties and lack of offensive production, we normally would have lost this game. 100% agree. I said that at the start of this post game. Silas Green says, good Chicago defense or poor Texans execution in the second half. Dell was off, and was Caleb pouting those last few drops? I don't think Caleb was pouting. I think Caleb was kind of running for his life a little bit. I don't know that he was pouting. I think he was just kind of running for his life. Appreciate y'all for swarming the super chat, though.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm. But yeah, I don't think that. I think good teams find ways to win. I agree with Dusto. I thought Caleb played fine. It's easy to pick on the quarterback, and Caleb's kind of a polarizing guy. I thought he did everything he could today. He missed some throws. There were a couple that he would probably like to have back, specifically on the first play or the first drive of the second half. I think he had more wide open a couple of times, was unable to connect with him. But I thought Caleb was fine. I think that there's an obvious problem with the interior of the offensive line in Chicago. Patty says that hip drop tackle was so obvious. Why no flag? I don't think they're trying to call that. I think this is kind of like the review of the pass interference. I don't think they're trying to call the hip drop tackle too much. He will get fined, and it will be a hip drop tackle fine. I can assure you. But I don't think the refs are really trying to call that. It's like the one year that they had the review pass interference and they never overturned it. I think that's kind of where they're at. I will say this, though. Azeez Al-Shaair should have gotten ejected for throwing a punch. So I think you just kind of wipe your hands clean of that, charge it to the game. No harm, no foul, play ball. That's what I would do there. Let's hear from CJ Stroud, quarterback of the Texans. Texans improved to 2-0. We'll hear from CJ. We'll go through the second half, and we'll talk about the biggest takeaways, and we'll get ready for a quick turnaround reaction Monday, 8 a.m. With SNL. Here is CJ Stroud, though, at the podium after the Texans dub.
What do you think about the defense tonight?
They played amazing. Shout out to them. You know, we lean on each other, so I'm super proud of them boys.
How would you describe just the offense tonight?
First half, I feel like we played really good. You know, definitely knew that they were going to try to stop the run and just did some different schemes for that. So try to throw it. Thought we threw it pretty well in the first half, but second half we were just flat. Just needed a big play, or just needed to play, just stack plays really. And we just couldn't find our rhythm. So, you know, that's a good defense over there. A lot of respect to those guys. They had a good plan for us. So, you know, it's good to learn in the dub, but, you know, I definitely know that we'll be better.
Speaking to your point about being flat in the second half or later on in the game, what do you feel like is going to be the first point that you bring up in the offensive league, some of the things that you're going to key in on what you guys can improve?
I mean, it's a multitude of things, but I feel like just shooting ourselves in the foot, it's never really them. You know, we run a type of play style where, like, regardless of the coverage or whatever it is, you know, it's up to the players to execute, you know. So I definitely think, like, we got to stop getting penalties. That's one thing. Another is just, you know, stop shooting ourselves in the foot, hat on a hat in the run game, hat on a hat in the passing game, and really just stop getting in our own way.
CJ, first couple of weeks, it looks like you've been becoming more comfortable with off-script plays and taking more risks. Would you say that's something that's opened up this year for you?
I mean, yes and no. You know, I don't choose to run. I run when I have to. I feel like I am
off-script plays.
agile and I can get out, but, you know, I definitely, you know, try to read the defense to get my guys the ball because they're usually open every time. So, you know, it's just up to the pocket and, you know, navigating that, trying to make my O-line right, but also, you know, if I have to, extend the play.
CJ, you guys started 0-2 last year, and now you're 2-0. How much different did things feel this year now that you have the whole season under your belt? What have you learned? Where do you feel like you guys have grown?
0-2. I mean, 0-2 is a lot worse than 2-0. So, I'm definitely grateful, definitely, blessed to be playing this great game. But it's definitely a lot of things we can clean up. I think around the league you can see that though. You know what I mean? A lot of sloppy ball. Some teams playing better than others, but I definitely know that Texas football was not what we put on the field today. But at least in the second half, we'll definitely be better for sure.
You and Nico connected on a couple of those scramble drill style plays. Is that something you guys work on actively? Is that like a focus of yours?
No, it's just two guys out there making plays. We have a drill that we do at practice that, it does help those things. But trying to just be two guys, be dynamic players.
You guys seem to have grown your bond in that way, to kind of mind meld, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. I think me and Nico, we've always had a good relationship and always, you know, read each other well on the field. But I think even now, we'll take the next steps. And you can see, Steph getting involved more, Tank getting involved, Dalton, Brev. We're just trying to spread it around, and we have so many dynamic players. So, it's a good problem to have.
Obviously, ultra competitive things of that nature. How do you balance? You guys got the win, but you said it. You guys didn't put on Texans football. How do you kind of balance wanting to correct all the mistakes, but while also, celebrating the win that you guys just had today?
It's football. It's hard to win in the NFL. I'm happy. Of course, I'm not satisfied. I'll never be satisfied. There's always things that you can point out. We're not going to let one half of football make us put our head down. We're going to stay confident. We're going to stay taking shots. We're going to stay, betting on us. So I definitely, understand. We need to be better. But like you said, winning is number one. So we won, and now it's time to move on and get better.
CJ, can you talk a little bit about what Taimi has meant to the team over these past 2 weeks? And as a quarterback, as an offense, does having a kicker that can hit from long range like that, consistency, give you guys a little bit of extra confidence, once you get over the 50-yard line?
Yeah, and he got ice in his veins, man. I'm super happy and proud of him. And he broke a record today or something like that. So, we definitely need him. All points are big points. And I definitely think like the preparation and just who he is at practice, you know that he's gonna knock it down just because how hard he is on himself during practice. And it was a great job by our special teams today, blocking it. Also, punt. Tommy doing his job as well. So, it takes three phases of football to win a football game.
CJ, you mentioned not shooting yourselves in the foot and getting the hat on the head in the run game. What did you feel like was the biggest difference between the week that y'all had last week in the run game, which was great, and then this week and not necessarily having exactly that?
You guys watch film. I can't sit here and tell you right now. It's always better than what you think it is. Always, or if it's a good game, it's always worse. It's worse than you think it was. So I can't sit here and tell you that it was this or another. I just know that they had we talked to them after the game. They had a specific plan on what they were trying to get done, and they executed it. And we got to just be better. So I can't sit here and just tell you exactly what it was.
Somewhat twofold. One, I don't know if you saw the replay and Jumbotron and whatnot, but the hip drop tackle on Mixon, how you felt about that, and then how the offense changed once he leaves the game. Later on, Akers fumbles in the red area. I just feel like the running game was off kilter. So just was it a drop tackle, a hip drop tackle in your mind, and then how did the offense change?
I really didn't notice it. I seen him kind of just fall down weird, and I was like, man, didn't look good. So I'm definitely praying for him, and I know that he's a tough guy, but just take care of himself right now. I hope that he's back on the field soon because you can see we need Joe. Joe's a amazing back. But yeah, definitely like shocked us, and we were like shifting momentum a little bit. But that's up to my job. That's for me to get the juices back going. To not let that happen. So let us go downhill. But I hope he's okay. That's the main thing. Is I just hope Joe is all right. But I didn't notice the tackle. But yeah.
CJ, after a remarkable rookie season, what's been the biggest challenge or adjustment for you and your two? Are teams doing anything differently? Are they scheming against you differently?
Not really. I'm still the same young, confident kid, and I will and always will be. I definitely do think they tried different schemes, but I try my best not to focus on that and just focus on my job. So I don't really see a huge difference. I definitely know, like, what I learned from last year is, like, it takes a couple weeks early on to get used to playing against other teams, seeing other coverages, because you're in training camp for so long. When you get to these games, it's a little shocker until like week 3, week 4, and I think that's around the league. You'll see offenses start to pick it up more. All right, Joe.
All right, there you go. That's CJ Stroud. Texans get the dub. They hold on 19 to 13. Some people probably a little bit of frustration with the fact that it wasn't a blowout. Look, these games are typically games that the Texans lose. They find ways to lose these games, and they're able to win them now. So I think you got to be, you don't got to be, you can do whatever the hell you want. But that is pleasing for the Texans to be able to get that dub. Well, Aaron Wilson was working the locker room. Shout out to A-Dub. We'll hear from some of the players in a sec. Aaron on the scene, Cody Stutes on the scene. I'm on the scene throughout the week at practice, but the stream is the priority during home games, no doubt, for sure. Kaimi Fairbairn, he's the first player in NFL history with 5 50-yarders in 2 games. Got to think that we're probably going to hear a little bit more from him. But first, let's recap the second half, and let's go inside the Texans locker room in a second with Aaron Wilson on the scene. Second half of the game, it was interesting. So Melissa Stark came on TV, and Melissa Stark said that Matt Eberflus told her, he said, quote, "We're going to score a touchdown to start the second half." Now, we'd already at this point seen one display of dumbassery from Matt Eberflus. The Texans ended up not allowing the Bears to score on that first drive, in large part because Caleb Williams missed DeAndre Carter, who, by the way, DeAndre Carter, really? Early on, you saw DeAndre Carter catch a couple of passes, and you're like, what the hell is this guy doing here? It's like Stifler American Pie. Might be dating myself again. What the F are you doing here? But he missed Carter on what would have been a long play, probably had some room to run after that. And the Eberflus guarantee does not go according to plan. Then we had kind of a scary moment in the game, and I saw someone said this in the chat. Hope the chain gang guy is good. The chain gang guy went down, looked like he tripped over one of the yard markers or whatever. Kind of looked like maybe he could have walked off on his own power. But we had the chain gang Dwight timeout. And I got to think, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with this game. It feels like the career of chain gang Dwight might be in jeopardy. I don't know when we're going to see chain gang Dwight back on an NFL field, but we saw him carted off. Hopefully he's okay. Then a scary moment, and maybe the scariest moment of the game for the Texans. You had Joe Mixon. You had Joe Mixon go down, and Joe Mixon leaves the game on a drop tackle, which should have been a hip drop tackle. They didn't call it. Again, I don't think they're trying to call this, but there will be a fine. Joe Mixon exits the game. He would return later on and then exit once again. But Joe Mixon leaves the game on a hip drop tackle. Then CJ Stroud to Tank Dell. Perfect job of extending the play by CJ Stroud right across the middle to Tank Dell. Tank Dell told me last Monday, he was going to be ready for this primetime game. Not Tank Dell's best performance, to say the very least. Not the best performance by old Tank, but Nico Collins kind of carried him. So the Bears get the break. Should have been a hip drop tackle. No 15-yard penalty. No extended drive. So a break for them. Then Tommy Townsend, after kind of the shank early on, he downs the Bears inside the 7. Jalen Petrie gets a pass interference on the sidelines. I don't know that this was catchable. I don't think Manute Bol or Shaq could have caught this ball, but they called the pass interference nonetheless. And then Kamari Lassiter with an interception that gets negated by a Henry To'oTo'o hold. Now, I will say this: Henry To'oTo'o played his ass off today. This might have been one of the better games of Henry To'oTo'o's career. I know he had double-digit tackles. He was all over the place. He talked about how he was a fat ass last year. That's a direct quote from him to me. He looks a lot better. And I think we're going to have to see Henry To'oTo'o for a while, because I would not bet on Christian Harris being back anytime soon. Just wouldn't bet that. If you want to bet me, we can bet. I like betting, not always great at it, but if you want to bet me, I don't think Christian Harris is back anytime soon. I think Henry To'oTo'o is going to have to hold it down a little bit longer than something, just my opinion. Then you had the controversy that continues. We'll get to that in a sec, but first let's go to the super chat. Alec has swarmed the super chat.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm. What do you think about the Texans going with a smaller back in Akers rather than a bigger back like Brooks or a banged up Mixon? Look, I've never seen British Brooks. I've never seen British Brooks really run in an NFL game. I liked what I saw in preseason against the third team. I think we'll eventually get to a point where maybe he could develop into the short yardage guy, and he can be a guy who can do fullback and tight end types of things. But I don't know that British Brooks is ready right now. And I like Cam Akers. Despite the fumble, I like Cam Akers. I like the way he runs. I like the way he fits in this system. Jim says he would like to see British Brooks over Dare. Look, I wish the Texans had more running back depth. I wish the Texans had addressed that a little bit more actively and a little bit more proactively in the offseason. I don't like that Dare Agumbawale, God bless him, is a play away from playing. But he does do all the little things well. Pass blocking. We saw the punt get blocked last week. I thought, don't know, that maybe Brooks had something to do with that. If that's happening on a punt, who knows what could happen on a pass. So I get what you're saying, but I think it's about more than actually running the rock. OG Trick says Slowick called a good game. The Bears defense just shut up today. I agree. I don't think Slowick called a bad game at all. I don't think the run game was there. So I can agree with that. I don't think Slowick was bad. Then we had the controversy as the summary continues. Azeez Al-Shaair, he lights up Caleb Williams on the sidelines. The game kind of gets intense. You have Azeez Al-Shaair throwing the punch on the sideline. Should have been ejected. Not the smartest thing from Azeez Al-Shaair. Should have been ejected. So the break that the Bears got on the non-15-yard penalty on the hip drop tackle, cancel it out maybe. Although Texans losing one of their better linebackers when one of their better linebackers is already out is probably a little bigger of a break. But Azeez Al-Shaair not ejected. Aaron Wilson, KPRC, working the locker room. He actually caught up with him. Aaron Wilson on Twitter and of KPRC. He caught up with Azeez Al-Shaair. I'm hearing this for the first time with you. Let's hear what he had to say about everything that went down in this dub and his controversy on the sidelines.
It's obviously a great start. And I think a lot of people, they like, DeMeco talked about it before the season started. But, last year they were in a position where they have to win a Week 18 game on a drop pass to go to the playoffs. And it's like, handle business right now. Don't wait until, like, the last game means as much as the first game. You can take care of business the first time. So I think it's just setting the standard early. Like, we're not trying to wait around for somebody to come save us.
Talk about the punch. Talk about the punch.
We got to take 1 week at a time. So that's what we're trying to do.
From your perspective, what happened with the sideline altercation? We see you hit Williams inbounds, and then they looked like they sort of surrounded you. What were they saying to you? Who was
it was doing stuff that obviously I can't repeat. And I respect the game. I know how it is. Like, a lot of guys think they're tough when they got pads and stuff on, and I know how it is. I grew up different, so it's some things that you say that you gotta speak on it. You gotta answer for it. And I feel like it was just some crazy things said. Obviously, I'm trying to get up, and dudes pushing me on the ground and stuff like that. So for me, it was just more so trying to I see a swarm of orange, and I'm trying to protect myself because people saying all type of things to me. And where I'm from, stuff like that, you don't take it lightly.
So the punch wasn't flagged, but do you think you'll probably hear from the league with it being televised, all that sort of thing?
I honestly, like I said, when I just got up and I'm feeling people pushing me on the ground, like for me, my instincts just kicked in, like trying to protect myself, trying to move back. So I really didn't like see what happened until after, and so obviously, like if I push him, punch him, whatever it is, like I gotta respect, whatever comes with that, obviously. So I understand like that's not acceptable. That's obviously not who I'm trying to be, anything like that. Like I'm not trying to be some fake guy. Like obviously, I played in this league. I was going on 6 years. Haven't had anything like that happen. So for that to happen on national television, that's not my proudest moment. So I take full accountability, I guess, in that aspect. But definitely just like my instincts kicked in and just like people saying all type of crazy stuff and putting their hands on me and pushing on me. It's like we're not on the field, we're on the sidelines. What are you doing? Some of the people didn't even have clothes on or didn't even have pads on, excuse me. So I'm just confused. So I don't know why. It's happened. I watched the Chiefs game the first time with Roquan Smith, and it's like, why are people
Dang,
who aren't
Aziz.
even dressed?
Got a hell of an
Why
explanation
you
on
putting your
this,
hands-
doesn't he?
That was like the first lesson that you learned in kindergarten. Don't touch nobody. Keep your hands to yourself. And if you usually do, it's the two things that probably can happen. And I did the option that I probably shouldn't have did. So.
That's a hell of a lot from Aziz Al-Shire. Look, you can't do that. And the guy that he hit, I actually know, or I know well enough. Roshan Johnson. I kind of want to know what Roshan said. And look, guys are calling each other names on a football field. It happens often, but Roshan, I mean, he's actually been. I never really known Roshan to be a type of dude that's just going to get too crazy outside of the norm. There was probably a little bit of overprotection of the quarterback, but who knows? He knows he shouldn't have done it. Fortunately for the Texans, he was not ejected. But yeah, that's what happened, and that's what went down with Aziz Al-Shire. We'll hear from Stingley. We'll hear from Lassiter. Damn, Aaron Wilson was on the scene today, and we'll also hear from perhaps the player of the game, Nico Collins, probably player of the game. Is that even a question? Is there anyone even close to him? Don't know. We'll hear from him as well. Aaron Wilson just doing hell of a lot of stuff in that locker room. We'll also hear from Mario Edwards here on the post-game show, locker room post-game show. Here was the next play after that. You had the after the altercation in which Shire should have been ejected. You had a pick six, could have easily been a pick six by the Chicago Bears, and this is where games just can completely turn in a number of ways. And when one thing happens, there can be a snowball effect, depending on how the team and coaches handle things. You had the Bears drop a near pick six that would have given them the lead. And then that got doubled down because after the pick six, what would have been a pick six in stride, there was a little bit of bobbling, almost pulled it in with one hand, clearly did not get it. Eberflus makes his second dumbass challenge of the game, and he burns a second half timeout in a close game, which could have completely changed the game. But you had Matt Eberflus do something that basically was just unimaginable in the first half with the challenge. And then it's almost like he's double fisting because he tells himself to hold his beer, and he makes an even more dumbass challenge than that. Then you had Derek Stingley intercept Caleb Williams. Derek Stingley, I've said this before, he's got the ball skills of a porn star. Derek Stingley with the interception. Here was Derek Stingley after the game with Aaron Wilson. Here's what he had to say following his interception, and he just continues to make plays on the ball.
I mean, that's really just defense playing as a whole together. That's what DeMeco always talk about. Like, front end, he'll be back in, he'll be front, all that. But yeah, playing together. I mean,
home opener like this, Swarm's been a part of the culture, since last year. What does it mean for you guys to kind of make that a staple, something identifiable for the first game for the fans this year?
I mean, it set a tone for ourselves because we know DeMeco wants as a defense. It's just like flying around. We still got like
going to the podium, guys.
And then people hear CJ's going to the podium, and they decide to walk away from Sting. But Sting is a CB1, and Kamari Lassiter is a CB2. You might have elite corners and edge guys and receivers, and those are three very expensive positions. Joe Mixon did make a brief return in this game. At the start of the fourth quarter, though, Joe Mixon kind of limped off again. You had CJ Stroud find Nico for 26 on 3rd and 8 at the start of the fourth. It seems like coming out of timeouts. I don't know if it's Bobby Slowick just finding ways to get Nico the rock. I don't know if it's CJ and Nico having time to talk to each other or whatever, but it seems like coming out of timeouts, you had after the 2-minute warning last week, the game that the play that could have iced it. You had after the timeout, after the penalty from Nico, the touchdown, and then that was tonight. And then today, at the start of the fourth, between the TV timeout, you had Stroud find Nico for 26. So there's got to be some interesting dialogue between CJ and Nico and Bobby Slowick. Maybe it's just a coincidence and you just find ways to get your best players the rock, but the Texans got a lot of options at receiver. It's interesting that coming out of timeouts, whether it's a TV timeout or an actual timeout, that Stroud and Nico make plays. It is the Locker Room, #1 source for Texans digital content. Let's hear from that dude. Let's hear from Nico Collins, what he had to say. Aaron Wilson caught up with him as well. Shout out to Aaron Wilson of KPRC. Here's more from Nico.
How did you feel about your performance?
It was all right, but made it out healthy. Got the dub.
It was all right.
Most importantly, feel like there's a lot of improvement I got to make on this in this game. Watching this game film, but most importantly, man, we got the dub at home Sunday night, in front of the fans, in front of the city. No better feeling than that.
They always catch the retaliator. He poked you in the eye or eye area.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on, but he too close. Putting hands in my face. Just had to. Watch out. Got the flag, but that's on me though.
But then you get the touchdown though.
Yeah, had to. It was one of them plays like, okay. They was trying me a little bit, but some boys show up.
You and CJ just have such a special connection. What is it like playing week after week with him and doing what you guys do?
Just repetition. I feel like reps after reps after reps. Just accumulate those things over time. That you wait for moments like this to make it easy. But just the things people don't see behind closed doors. Practice field, 100 degrees out there hurting. One more rep. One more rep. So Sundays or Sunday night, Mondays, it's easy. Fun. But that connection been going with everybody. Both sides of the ball. I feel like we've been building and getting better every single day. Just never getting complacent.
You talked about making it look easy. That one play where he's running and he gets hit and he's still able to find you. How special of a throw is that?
That's special, no? A lot. I don't even think he could do that. Extend a play like that, screaming it to his left, right. Still getting the ball, love making plays. I feel like he's special. You can't coach that. What I'm saying? So I feel like for him, the play is going to be extended. So just try to find the void for him. Go out and make a play for the team.
You go 2-0 at this point to get off to this fast start, while the rest of the division is not off to a fast start. How much meaningful is it for you guys to be 2-0 right now?
It's important. I feel like for us, not really locked in on everybody else. We locked in this building here, and I feel like we just improve every single day. One game at a time, just taking one rep at a time, one game at a time, 1 week at a time. I feel like that's what we got to do. It's a marathon now, so I feel like every week matter, every film study, every detail matter. So I feel that's where we are right now. 2-0 feels good. It's a blessing. Come out this fast, but you got to keep going. It's on the second week. It's a long season. So we're gonna enjoy this win. But get better. Can't wait for next week.
I'll tell you this: it is a marathon, and I don't disagree with what what Nico is saying. It is the Locker Room, number one source for Texans digital content, post-game show. Reaction Monday at 8 a.m. We're less than 8 hours away from Reaction Monday with SNL, myself, and Cody Stoots. Appreciate y'all for riding through. Appreciate Mr. Rob for swarming the super chat.
You ain't never
Swarm. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate you for rolling through and following along, whether it was, the last 10 years, whatever. We've all been through this. Feels like it's as good as it's been when it comes to covering this squad. By the way, Nico Collins, he's an absolute dog. I don't that display that Nico Collins had where he picks up the 15-yard penalty and then he's pissed off and he throws the guy off him. That was an absolute alpha, big ball, Sam Cassell, big ball display by him. That was doggish.
I'm a dog, I'm a dog, I'm a dog, I'm a dog.
Absolute dog stuff from Nico Collins. Absolute dog stuff from Nico Collins. Herman says he's out. Hey, good night to you, my friend. 8 a.m. Reaction Monday, 10:30 after Monday Night Football. We'll take a big look at the Texans as we do after Monday Night Football every week, and we'll get a grasp of where they sit. But I want to kind of touch on what Nico Collins just said. Practice updates every day. I'm at every practice. I got you. The shorts, we got the basic bitch right after practice. Follow along. Those updates drop throughout the day, and we'll let you know what's going on. Big announcement, by the way, on SNL as well. But I want to touch on what Nico Collins just said, and we'll finish summarizing the game. We'll also hear from Kamari Lassiter, Aaron Wilson. Shout out to Aaron Wilson, KPRC, one of the hardest working dudes on the beat for sure. But I want to touch on what Nico said. He said it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I don't disagree with that at all. I don't disagree with what he's saying. I think that's a fact. We saw the Texans help. We don't have to go back too far. We can go back about a year. Texans started out 0-2. They end up winning the division. So we've seen that, the marathon, not a sprint. We've seen the Texans start out 0-3 with Deshaun Watson in, 2018. And they end up winning the division and winning a playoff game. But when you start out 2-0 and you don't feel like you've played really that well, and the rest of the division starts out 0-2, it might be a marathon, not a sprint, but damn, you got a hell of a lead. I mean, you got a hell of a lead in that marathon, and somewhat of a comfortable lead when you look at the way that these other teams are playing. We'll get more into the specifics of the state of the division. We'll get into that tomorrow at 10:30 when Monday Night Football concludes with the Locker Room localized weekly wrap. But marathon, sprint, yes. But 0-2 everybody else and you 2-0, that's a hell of a jump. That's a hell of a head start. No doubt. Sonny Digital says he's still stuck on Stingley having porn star ball skills. He's got ball skills like a porn star, man. See ball, get ball. That's what Derek Stingley is capable of doing. Don't be stuck on it too much. For sure. Don't be too stuck on it. So we'll get back into the to the summary. Again, super checks to go to the front. No pause. We don't got to pause there. It speaks for itself. Ball skills like a porn star. That's kind of a metaphor, man. That's more of like a metaphor. That's not like pause. I think you're overdoing the no Diddy. Nah, I don't know. See, again, this is a metaphor. This is not like actual reality. Haven't listened to 610. Look, Seth and Sean, you can get 6 to 10, and then after that, I got you covered. It really me and Stoots in the digital game is what's taken over. We don't insult your intelligence. We know that our listeners and our viewers are smart. It's not a keep them fooled mindset. It's not a the listeners are dumb mindset. Y'all are as smart as I am. Some of y'all, not all of y'all, but some of y'all are, and I got you covered for sure. And it's nice to have the efforts rewarded instead of taken for granted. So yeah, shout out to Sean and Seth. I think they'll give you what you need after that. Hey, digital game, SNL, Cody Stutes. So we had Kaimi Fairbairn 53-yarder, made it 19-10, his 6th 50-plus yard field goal in 2 games. Then Kamari Lassiter, the locksmith, he had his first interception, what would have been the first interception of his career. He had that negated by a toe-to-toe hold. However, he picked off Williams. You can give Daniil Hunter the assist for the pressure, but Caleb Williams spun off him. The jersey gets pulled out. Boom. Lassiter on the sidelines, kind of digs, kind of wonder if he's gonna house it. He does not. Aaron Wilson, shout out to him. Thank God for him. I might owe him a little bit of din-din after that. I might buy Aaron lunch tomorrow at Texans. But here was Kamari Lassiter at the after the game in the locker room, courtesy of Aaron Wilson.
It felt great. Just being a home crowd. My first interception in a long time. So just to be able to do it in the league, on a stage, where I dreamed of playing all my life, it's no better feeling. And then to do it in front of the guys that I'm playing with, just be able to just show the guys, I'm here to stay. It was a great feeling.
Can you take me through the play, what you saw, how you were able to come up with it?
Yes, sir. So basically, we were in coverage. The rush got back there. Rushing coverage working together. Quarterback escape. And then after that point, it turns into backyard football. So just kind of playing football at that point. There was a guy underneath, and then there was a guy. I could just feel a guy, over the top of me. So just
damn, he's breaking it down.
Throw behind me, just kind of slow play, being able to break on the underneath throw, and then kind of just slow play and go get the ball whenever you do it.
After not getting that first one, were you like itching to after the first one was called back?
Man, kind of, everybody was on the sideline. It was like, just go get another one. Then, the whole time I'm thinking, God got me, it's gonna come back to me. I'm just gonna go out there, just keep playing my game, keep playing ball, and came back to me.
Kamari, what are some of the special challenges of defending Caleb Williams, and what were some things that, as a rookie, you guys were able to kind of inflict on him too?
Man, he's a great quarterback. A really good improviser.
He's gonna be good.
Improviser, really good thrower. So just just trying to make the picture hard for him, and just doing certain things to kind of just make things hard for him, and just playing as a unit. That was the thing that we really wanted to come in and just play together. And we feel like if we play together, we can go to toe-to-toe with anyone.
Kamari, you had been talking about that you've been dreaming of this moment to be able to make that big-time leap, but for you to be able to take the field for the first time at NRG Stadium in primetime game, what was that atmosphere like? You get to step out for the whole time crowd.
Man, it was amazing. Crowd was electric. The game was electric. Prime time, it doesn't get much better than that. So, just being able to play on that stage with the guys that I'm playing with, in front of my family, in front of everyone I love, man, it doesn't get much better.
Is it most special to be able to have the first career interception on national stage?
Of course, yes, sir. On national TV, prime time, and the home stadium, it doesn't get much better than that.
Kamari, how good can this defense be?
Man, I feel like, if we continue to swarm and play together like we have been, the sky's the limit. We can go toe-to-toe with anyone.
You guys had 7 sacks and 2 interceptions. Do you feel like you guys can do even more than it's?
I feel like, as long as we
continue to do what we can do, the sky's the limit. I could answer that one for him. Shout out to Kamari Lassiter for, just an absolute, yet another kind of one of those things that just, I don't know if it falls into the lap. I don't know if they liked him more than Kool-Aid McKinstry. I don't know if they liked him more than Dejeen. I don't know if they wanted a D tackle, but the ability to pivot, the ability to get stuff done, it just seems like it's nice. Shout out to everyone in here, man. We are 700 deep, and it is 12:14. I don't know if y'all are calling in sick. Sometimes you just got to troop it out. You troop it out on Monday, you come home, you sleep, or you just keep trooping it out. Trust me, I know way too much about that. That's why I'm kind of taking it easy this football season. I'm sticking to the lettuce. I'm on the green diet. Most of you know what the heck that means.
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets. Did you know what that was?
Shout out to
me neither.
Shout out to Avenue Central for swarming the super chat.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm. Definitely worthy to fly out. Ugly but good win. Yeah, shout out to you, man. Hope you had a good trip. Don't know if you're staying out here. If you are, and you have time for breakfast tomorrow, Jackie's Diner at the corner of 610 and 290. Man, I will never go to Avalon again. Jackie's Diner is elite. No disrespect to Avalon. You've been good to me, but Jackie's, holy crap. Hole in the wall. My God, elite. Today. I had it today. NF says he's drunk. I would hope so. It's Sunday Night Football, brother. Let's see. Oh, damn. Convenience stores closed. Hopefully you got either the fridge stocked or you or you went there before 12. If it's one of those nights, might just be a time to go to bed and get ready for work. I don't know. Different strokes for different folks. What's everyone drinking? What are you sipping on? Let me know. Young Costa says he's sipping on Bears tears. Hell of a drink. If you ask me. So we'll get back to this after the Lassiter interception with the Hunter pressure. It looked like the Texans were en route to finishing this game. It was 19-10. Cam Akers looked good on a couple of runs. One of them, it looks like he kind of slowed up and went out of bounds. I don't know. Maybe that's he did stiff arm the guy. So it's easy for me to say, like, you stiff arm a 230-pound guy to the ground, you probably slow down a little bit. Maybe I just been playing too much Madden, but he looked good. And then the Texans get inside the 5. It's about to be an FU because at the very least you get it to where you settle for 3, you take an extra minute and a half or whatever off the clock, and you're up 2 touchdowns instead of a touchdown and a field goal. But I'll be damned. Cam Akers fumbles the rock. The Bears recover. The Bears suddenly have life. And this was actually the second time I thought the Bears defense kind of avoided the knockout blow. After the Lassiter interception where the Texans had the ball near midfield, the Bears held the Texans. And I actually thought, okay, are they going to be able to take advantage of this? Texans defense ended up coming up big. Mario Edwards ended up with the sack. Mario Edwards, he's been a really, really good piece of this Texan squad. He was another guy who Aaron Wilson caught up with. Here's what Mario Edwards had to say after the W.
And the W with Sunday Night Football. How did you feel about the pass rush you guys were able to generate against an elusive young quarterback like you?
I felt like we did good, and we were still a little frustrated because we felt like we left something out there on the table. But I felt like we did a pretty good job of trying to contain him and keeping him in the pocket.
How tough is it to sack, and now that you played against him?
Man, he's slippery. He's very elusive. You got to break down and tackle him, and he's real good with his legs.
Statement win, you think? This is the first primetime Sunday night game since 2019 for this franchise.
We still got a lot more ball in front of us, so we just want to take it one game at a time.
I'm pleased for you guys, though, with what you guys did to him. I mean, 36 pressures I think you guys had.
Oh, man, it's good, man. It just goes to how we've been practicing, believing that we're the engine of the defense, believing in the system, believing in everything. It's been going good for us.
Take us through your sack.
And it was fun. We ran a game and wrapped around. He was right there waiting on me.
And when you have everybody getting upfield, being in their block, how tough is this defensive line and overall pass rush to stop?
It's very hard to stop, man. We got everybody being dominant, being physical, getting upfield, being vertical. And so when you have that type of pressure, it makes the quarterback have a little step up, and we get it.
Seems like on third down, you guys put a lot of overloaded one side a couple of different times.
SNL tomorrow, 8 a.m.
Early on,
Go to
kind of kept going to it.
It was one of those things that was working, and coach just kept calling, and we kept putting it on him.
Did you sense that it bothered him at all, to start getting a little gunshot? Not like afraid to get hit, but just that it's affecting him the way he's playing because you're hitting him that often.
Definitely. Once I started seeing some guys put some hits on him, he was getting slow back to the huddle. Also, too, once we covered him up, he couldn't see, so he started panicking. So once he started panicking, we knew that's what.
There you go. Shout out to Mario Edwards. Love me some Mario Edwards. Perhaps another good find by Nick Caserio, I would say. Asked what you were sipping on earlier today. Let's hear Herman's on that Four Loko. Okay. What do you know about the original Four Lokos back in the day, man? Those would get you going. Used to be a big Four Loko guy myself. Corona with lime. I love me some Corona with lime. Shout out to that. Jesus G says he's got dabs on deck. Man, I'm not into the dabs, man. You feel like you're at a damn car shop whenever people are doing dabs. I don't like feeling like I'm at a car shop when I'm getting on that sticky icky. Now you're just being crazy. Shout out to Richard Lozano. Much love to you, my friend. Appreciate you. Casamigos. Okay, there you go. Shout out to my man right there. Now that's a dude that knows how to party, right there. I'm not trying to judge a book by its cover. That's a dude who knows how to party, though. If I misjudge you, let me know. I'll apologize. But I feel like that is a dude that knows how to party. Joe says Caleb Williams did take. Yeah, I think Caleb's good. He's tough. you could see the way his teammates reacted on that hit by Aziz, the legal hit by Aziz on the side, and the way they kind of defended him. I thought Caleb Williams played good, and I think he's going to be good. They got to figure out something on the interior. The wide receivers, Adunze, he's hurt. I don't know why you put a rookie with a sprained MCL out there, but they didn't have Keenan Allen. I actually thought that Colin Johnson, we would maybe see him a little bit more. He actually lit up the Texans in the preseason, wasn't the starters or anything, but I thought maybe we'd see him a little bit more. But yeah, I think Caleb's going to be fine. I don't think there was anything really wrong, so I did not judge him. Rick says he's drinking home distilled rum infused with cherry wood and lettuce. What in the hell is that? What are you, MacGyver? I've heard people brewing their own beer, and I always thought that was kind of weird. But you got the home distilled rum infused with cherry wood and lettuce. Okay. Someone says Jack and Coke sounds good. May make one. Shout out to y'all. Yeah, DJ Moore did seem a little frustrated with Caleb Williams. He probably needs to be a little bit more patient. You're going to be spending a lot of time with that guy. It did look like his body language. I don't want to be Mr. Body Language expert or lack thereof, but he did seem a little bit ticked off. Let's hear from Brevin Jordan on the way out of here. Ja'Cory says he's drinking on that Modelo. Shout out to Modelo, too. I think it's the #1 beer in America right now. I might have misheard that. That's what I heard. Who knows? Brevin Jordan. Always good to hear from him. Always good vibes when Brevin Jordan speaks. Aaron Wilson, work in the locker room. Here's what Brevin Jordan had to say after the Texans dub.
What do you think? 2-0, and this is the Texans' first Sunday night game since 2019, back when they beat the Patriots.
It's a huge win, man. I mean, we have a lot to clean up. You know, on the offensive side of the ball, we felt like we left a lot of yards, a lot of points out there. So I think we just look for an opportunity to bounce back this week and show our best ball this week.
Well, they say that's a good defense, and Matty Eberflus is one of the better defensive callers. Is some of it just like credit to them too?
Yeah, definitely credit to them. They were a tough, gritty-nosed football team, but we always say it's all about us. It's all about us, and if we are on our P's and Q's and we are perfecting our assignments, that we feel like nobody can handle us. So it's a little bit of both for sure.
When Joe went back in the game, and we didn't know if he would, and then he came back out there, he lobbied them to put him back in. What did it mean to you guys emotionally to see him come back in the huddle?
Yeah, it was huge, man. I mean, the dude is just, his presence just gives everybody a boost of morale. He's a very positive guy, and I could tell, we could all tell he was down a little bit about it, but he's just that type of guy. He's tough. He's a hell of a football player, and just having him back in the huddle was huge for us.
It's Brevin Jordan. Always good to get that energy from him. So you have the Texans fumble of Cam Akers. Matt Eberflus blew a timeout. He blew another timeout. So he blew 2 timeouts in this game. Who knows how much different it would have been? But the display of dumbassery by Eberflus today, it was high. He made a fool of himself on national TV. And again, he earned an extra year last year. You go on primetime and you challenge the 2 plays that he did. You guarantee that you're going to score to start the second half, and then you kill timeouts. This might be your last year if you put too many displays like that up. I don't know what's going to happen with Chicago. I think they could be one of those teams in the hunt. You make the playoffs, you're probably going to keep it going. But this was an absolute display of dumbassery on national TV by Eberflus. The Bears ended up making the 54-yarder. That made it 19-13 with 2:51 left. Texans unable to completely kill the clock. CJ Stroud scramble that would have ended the game was negated by the penalty by Titus Howard. And then the Texans had to punt, but they end up holding up. You had a sack by Danielle Hunter. And I'm actually surprised Caleb Williams got up from that. And then the Texans held the Bears, and they end up getting the dub. They don't cover, but they win 19-13. I said take the under. The under ended up hitting. So I said over week 1 under here. So if you're following along with BetUS, then you got that. What do I think about the Tank Dell drop? I think it wasn't good. It was a bad play. What do you mean? I mean, yeah, I think it was a bad play. I think it was he's got to catch it. You got to reward your quarterback, CJ, in those scramble drills. especially with how good the chemistry he has with Nico Collins, where Nico Collins has consistently rewarded those. I know him and Tank are best friends, but on the field of play, it's clear that CJ trusts Nico in clutch situations. Tank's got to make that play. I think he knows that as well. Tank wasn't great today. Wasn't good. There's zero doubt about that. He was very, very, very meh today. Nico Collins was great. Someone asked me, is Nico Collins a wide receiver 1? He looks it. He looks the part for sure. I don't know that we put him like as elite, but I mean, you keep performing like this, he definitely looks the part, and he's putting up those types of numbers. And that he's just a mean dude on that football field. So we'll see how this all goes. It is 12:26, 8 a.m. The SNL collaboration reaction Monday. Big announcement too. Myself, Cody Stutes, always on the scene before we go out to practice. Hear from DeMeco, hear from whoever they send to the podium. We are going to collaborate reaction Monday. It's the only 2 hours you need to have enough information to get you ready and prepared for the Texans heading into the next week. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for that big announcement. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Texans get the dub 19-13. Again, it's 6:26 in the UK. Shout out to Paul for rising early in the UK. We worldwide, baby. We're not just local. Shout out to Paul out there in the UK. I know we got some people in Australia. We got some people all over. We got some people in Germany. All the different time zones. Thanks for rolling with me. It's 12:27 here in Houston. Biggest takeaways, just to reset it. Number one, Texans again didn't play great. DeMeco seemed upset, but they're 2-0. Rest of the division is 0-2. Do with that what you will. The run game, we were very excited about it last week. When you see the Colts go out there and allow another 150-yard rusher, I do think we need to reevaluate just how good this team is going to be able to run the rock. I think it could be a little bit more of a problem than it's getting credit for. That's the bad news. The good news, the edge and at corners, potential elite duos in both. Stingley and Lassiter, both with interceptions today. Hunter and Anderson both got to the quarterback today. So you have that. Kaimi Fairbairn, better with age. He's like a damn wine. He's like a kicking wine. NFL blitz type of range for Kaimi Fairbairn. Anywhere on the field, field goal range. They're not 2-0 without Kaimi Fairbairn. Nico Collins, wide receiver 1? Question mark. The answer might be yes. Nick Caserio got that contract done early. He might look really, really smart if Nico keeps playing this way. Juice Scruggs. Yeah, I think the Texans definitely miss Juice Scruggs. Patterson's a fine backup. He was not that good last year. I mean, he was okay. He was a good backup. He was a serviceable backup. CJ Stroud's going to save all butts. The run game's non-existent when Patterson's in there, and the communication's not as good. So there's a downgrade. That happens when your backups get in. I just think heading into camp, there was like some sort of notion that, Juice Scruggs and Patterson were like neck and neck or something like that. It's not the case. There's a reason that Scruggs was the starting center the whole entire time. So there's definitely a downgrade. Is Scruggs going to be back? Don't know. He's not moving around like he's, seriously injured, but you never know. But keep an eye on that. I do think it's a big deal not having them there. And then we're going to have to keep a close eye on Joe Mixon, because I don't know what it's going to be like if Joe Mixon is not on the field. They did not proactively really try to improve the running back position, much to the dismay of me and many others. So if you have to effectively run the ball with Dameon Pierce and Cam Akers, I think that could be a problem. And then you're asking CJ to do even more, which we know he's capable of it. Minnesota's coming off a win of San Francisco, though. A lot of people had the Minnesota matchup with Sam Darnold in there as kind of a bunny. I mean, they beat San Francisco, so I don't know that it's a bunny. They're a very well coached ball club as well. So we'll have to see how that goes. It's going to be a really, really, really fun journey, though. Will they be able to run the rock? Don't know. But we'll see. Someone says I was right. I'm wrong a lot too. Who cares? There's no gloating. You can make a list of things where I'm wrong. It's not about being right. It's not about being wrong. It's about being together, which is what we are. Subscribe, like, ride along. We got up to damn near 900. We're pushing 1,000. The excitement is only improving. The digital game is improving. This has been going on for 2 years. I think we got 1,100 videos now total. So it don't stop, baby. I'll be at practice tomorrow, but before that, 8 a.m. right here, SNL Reaction Monday. Set your alert. If you're already subscribed, it should be there, but I already have it up and ready to go. So be there, be square. When you need to know about the Texans, you come into the locker room. Pause there. Subscribe, like, ride along. Appreciate you. Thanks for staying up late. Wake up early with me as well. Thank y'all very much.
We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localized every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days. Opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up, we number one. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localized, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too.